Hey everyone, as promised, I'm going to talk about equality versus equity. This is very important in 1984. So, equality is everyone being treated the same. Equity is giving everyone what they need to succeed. So, if equality is treating everyone the same, like that sounds good until we get to where 1984 is, where everyone wears the same thing. Everyone has the exercise that they have to do every day. Everyone has the same schedule. Everyone has the same type of crappy apartment. Everyone has the same amount of food, which isn't even enough food for them to live on. So that's equality. Equality is important. Like we need equality. We need everyone to be treated the same, but we also need equity because everyone needs to be given what they need to succeed. So equity is giving some different things than others so that everyone can reach the same level. Like we see that with education. So some people can do all right in large classroom settings. Some people need more one on one work, which is why we have special education programs in this country so that the kids who need it get extra support. Um, and so, and because equality requires everyone to come from the same place as everybody else. And we know that's not true. People have different financial situations. Not everyone has the same amount of money. Not everyone has the same amount of opportunity as someone else. And that's based on how they grew up, where they live, what their parents are like. If the kids have to work or not. I mean, a lot of you have experienced this firsthand where, you have access to education, but the opportunity isn't always the same because you have some other things that you have to handle. I know some of you have children. I know some of you work, things like that. And so then some schools try to help students when they don't have the same either amount of time as their peers to do the work or aren't able to focus on school as the main thing in their lives. Some kids are able to, but not everyone is able to. And so when we think about equality, like with food in 1984, everyone has the same amount of rations. Just on a basic level, that's not going to work for everybody. My sister, she can't have gluten. She's allergic to it. So she can't have bread, pot, or pasta, or anything that has any gluten in it. And so she buys like gluten-free bread and things like that. But if she was in 1984 and they gave her bread, she couldn't eat it. I also have some food sensitivities. Like I can't eat cheap eggs because they make me feel sick. It's the same with meat and cheese. So for me, I have to have enough money to be able to buy more expensive eggs because those are the ones that I can eat. As a result of that, I don't eat as many eggs or as much meat as maybe others do because a lot of it makes me feel sick. So there's that in terms of food, in terms of food access, even just on an individual level. Sometimes equality, like we see in 1984, gets rid of the individual. It just says, this is what the government is giving you. The government is giving you the same thing as everybody else, and that should be enough. But it's not enough for all people because everyone is different. So equality is obviously a good thing. Like we want equality in terms of like women getting paid the same amount as men, and in terms of race and like civil rights. We want equality in terms of rights. but we but equality isn't everything. We also need equity. We need to give everyone what they need to succeed. So for some people, that's giving them extra help with work. That is giving them more time on assignments. Like for me, I was always really slow in school in terms of taking tests, and I needed extra time, but I didn't have it in any sort of plan. And so some teachers gave it to me and some teachers didn't. Some teachers told me it wasn't fair to give me extra time when the other students had the same amount of time as me. But the thing is, I couldn't do the work in the same amount of time as everybody else. And it was similar with standardized testing for me. Like when I took the SAT, I scored really low. And I had friends who didn't study at all and scored really high and didn't have to take it again. I had to take an SAT prep class so that I could score higher. And I was lucky that my family had enough money to put me in that class, but not all families have that. So in a world full of equity, maybe students would have better access to SAT prep classes if they wanted to improve their score, because not everyone is going to be just like one of my friends who didn't really have to study, took it, got a pretty much perfect score. And so that's where equity comes in, like giving everyone what they need personally to succeed. And it's not entirely possible to have in like a large group setting to give everyone exactly what they need, but we can also try. Like in a perfect world, we can. And that's where the education system in general is really difficult, because we put a group of students in a class and we say, okay, we're going to teach this way and you're going to learn this. But students also need individual attention, and some need more individual attention than others, and some students are at different levels than others. Like I was always pretty good at English and history. I was terrible at math. I needed way more support with math than I needed with English and history. And so that's where equity comes in, with extra help. And then that, with equality, can create a more perfect world. Because with 1984, where we see just equality and not equity, we see where it all just falls apart. Okay, so hopefully that all made sense. Make sure you email me with any questions, and I'll see you all later. All right, bye.